If humans aren't the most intelligent species, then who is? It may sound crazy, but have you ever wondered whether humans, with all our intelligence, technology, and ambition to go beyond this blue planet, are truly the smartest beings in the entire universe? This question doesn't just spark curiosity, it challenges the very foundations of both science and philosophy. For thousands of years, humans have looked up at the night sky and asked, are we alone? But at a deeper level, the real question might be, are we truly the peak of intelligence in this universe? In this article, as someone who analyzes and studies the human condition in relation to the cosmos, we'll dive into this question through the lenses of science, philosophy, and psychology, not just to seek an answer, but to reignite your inner drive for discovery and understanding. Would you like me to continue translating the rest of the article? Redefining intelligence, a cognitive trap. Before assessing whether humans are the most intelligent species, we must first ask, what is intelligence? Human intelligence is often measured by IQ, logical reasoning abilities, artistic creativity, and technological inventions. But is that truly a universal standard for all forms of intelligent life in the universe? Intelligence is adaptation. Bacteria have survived for millions of years, and organisms that thrive in extreme environments could be considered biologically intelligent. Could there be a civilization that has existed for billions of years, without the need for war, technology, or even language, that surpasses humans in intelligence? Non-material intelligence. If there exists a species based on a different biological foundation, for example, silicon-based life or even plasma-based organisms, their intelligence might operate entirely differently from human perception. They could communicate through electromagnetic waves or process quantum information without tools like computers. Network intelligence. An individual organism may not be intelligent, but a whole community of them might function as a superintelligent network. Ants and bees are early examples of this. Could there be collective consciousnesses elsewhere in the universe, operating as a gigantic nervous system? From this, we can see intelligence is not uniform, and what humans consider intelligence may just be one variation among thousands of forms of intelligence. Would you like me to continue with the rest of the translation? Evidence that humans are not the pinnacle, the obvious limitations. When humans consider themselves the pinnacle of intelligence, they often cite achievements in science, art, and technology. However, if we look closely at ourselves, we see clear limitations not only in biology, but also in ethics, perception, and existence. These limitations show that we are still a species in the process of learning, not yet perfected. Emotional intelligence and immature ethics. Humans may create artificial intelligence, build satellites to cover the entire orbit, but still remain powerless in preventing war, famine, climate change, and social injustice. This is not just a failure of tools, but an imperfection in ethical awareness. A truly superior civilization would know how to live harmoniously with itself and its environment, instead of repeating self-destructive cycles. Absolute dependence on technology. Without microscopes, particle accelerators, GPS systems, the internet, or electricity, humans would almost revert to a primitive state. Our access to universal knowledge is not inherent but completely dependent on intermediary tools. What would happen if there were a species that could directly experience the nature of space-time without the need for any devices? Biological and perceptual limitations. The human eye can only see a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum, visible light, and the brain processes information within just a few spatial dimensions. Even with quantum computers and models of the universe, humans are still three-dimensional creatures limited by carbon biology and linear time. We might be living in a box without knowing about other forms of existence because they simply lie beyond our perceptual thresholds. Short-lived in the universe's timeline. The average human lifespan is only about 70 to 90 years. Modern humans have existed for less than 0.0015% of the universe's time. Not only is our existence short-lived, but we are also vulnerable to extinction from natural disasters, nuclear war, or global pandemics. Meanwhile, if a civilization has existed for millions of years without self-destruction, they might consider us as mere infants in the intellectual evolution journey. Self-destructive potential and irrational behavior. Humans know what harms them, from climate change to the new Cold Wars, but they continue to act in ways that exacerbate these problems. True intelligence is not just understanding, it's acting based on that understanding. The growing dependence on technology, social media, and systems beyond our control is evidence that we have not yet achieved sustainable intelligence. From the above analysis, it's clear that while human intelligence is impressive, it is far from complete. We are still in the middle of the process, still stumbling, conflicting, and learning. And it is this, not our current achievements, that truly measures a growing intelligence not yet supreme in the universe. Would you like to continue with the rest of the translation or need any further modifications? Hypotheses that suggest humans are not unique and may not be the greatest. The Fermi paradox. If the universe has billions of habitable planets, why haven't we made contact with any civilizations? Perhaps they are so advanced that they view us as mere bacteria. Or they could be observing us in the same way we observe wildlife. The zoo hypothesis. Extraterrestrial civilizations may be aware of us but deliberately refrain from interfering in order to avoid disrupting humanity's evolutionary process, much like how humans observe animals in the wild. Parallel universes and non-material beings. Life forms that do not exist in three-dimensional space or do not follow the physics we know may have already existed. The problem is we lack the tools to perceive or understand them. Ancient beings that visited Earth. Some scholars suggest that ancient civilizations like Egypt, the Maya, or the markings of ancient artifacts contain traces indicating contact with extraterrestrial life. While this theory remains controversial, it has never been entirely disproven. Would you like me to continue translating the rest or adjust anything? Part 4. Things few people mention but are worth contemplating. Intelligence without a body. If consciousness is a form of energy, it's possible that beings could exist as a stream of consciousness without the need for a physical body. Humans, being so dependent on their physical form, might actually be a lower form of intelligence. Reverse evolution. It's possible that intelligence does not necessarily need to be developed indefinitely. Like a circle, a superintelligent civilization may have gone through the technological phase and then returned to a simpler state of life, not because they are less developed, but because they've understood the essence of everything. Humans as an experiment. There's a hypothesis that Earth may be a place for testing life created by a more advanced species. If this is true, we are not the pinnacle of intelligence but rather just a specimen. Self-destructive intelligence. What is often called superior intelligence could lead to self-destruction, like nuclear weapons, AI control, or resource depletion. A truly intelligent civilization might be one that knows how to avoid self-annihilation. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments. Things few people mention but are worth contemplating. Intelligence without a body. If consciousness is a form of energy, it's possible that beings could exist as a stream of consciousness without the need for a physical body. Humans, being so dependent on their physical form, might actually be a lower form of intelligence. Reverse evolution. It's possible that intelligence does not necessarily need to be developed indefinitely. Like a circle, a superintelligent civilization may have gone through the technological phase and then returned to a simpler state of life, not because they are less developed, but because they've understood the essence of everything. Humans as an experiment. There's a hypothesis that Earth may be a place for testing life created by a more advanced species. If this is true, we are not the pinnacle of intelligence but rather just a specimen. Self-destructive intelligence. What is often called superior intelligence could lead to self-destruction, like nuclear weapons, AI control, or resource depletion. A truly intelligent civilization might be one that knows how to avoid self-annihilation. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments. So, who are humans in the picture of the universe? When facing a vast universe with hundreds of billions of galaxies, trillions of planets, and countless unsolved mysteries, determining who we are becomes not only a scientific question but also one with philosophical and existential depth. First of all, humans are the only known species capable of self-awareness and asking questions that go beyond mere survival instincts. Who am I? Where do I come from? Does the universe have a purpose? These questions mark the beginning of all systems of thought, from religion and philosophy to modern science. This self-reflection not only reflects intelligence but also signals a species breaking free from the confines of biological limits. Secondly, humans are a bridge between the physical and the abstract. We live in the physical world, eating, breathing, reproducing, but we also exist in a world of memories, language, emotions, and ideas. Humans don't just create tools to conquer nature, but also engage in artistic creation, write poetry, imagine alternate realities, and ask metaphysical questions that no other species, as far as we know, has ever posed. Thirdly, humans represent a special stage in evolution, one where evolution is no longer solely driven by natural selection but by cultural and technological selection. Instead of waiting millions of years for wings to grow, we invented airplanes. We manipulate genes, alter atoms, and intervene with artificial intelligence, actions that make us not just a product of the universe but are gradually turning us into the architects of the universe itself as we understand it. However, in the grand picture of the universe, humans are still a young, vulnerable, and contradictory species. We have the intelligence to invent the theory of relativity, but we also have the power to destroy one another with nuclear weapons. We compose symphonies like Beethoven, but also create social media that causes widespread psychological turmoil. Thus, in this grand picture, humans are neither the center nor necessarily the pinnacle. But we may be the storytellers, the observers, and the learners, and perhaps the stepping stone for a higher intelligence to emerge. Our role might not be to be the best, but to be the ones who begin. What defines the value of humanity is not where we've reached, but the direction we choose, whether we continue to ask questions, remain humble, and develop intelligence that is not just smarter but also more humane and sustainable. And perhaps the highest intelligence in the universe isn't about the ability to dominate, but about the capacity to empathize and understand our own limitations. Let me know if you need any further adjustments. Being the smartest doesn't mean being the best. Humans may not be the most intelligent species in the universe. If intelligence is measured by sustainable existence, the ability to perceive different dimensions, living harmoniously with nature, or understanding the quantum nature of consciousness. However, humans are among the most unique species because we dare to question, dare to ask, and dare to accept that we are not everything. So, instead of asking, "Are we the smartest?" let's ask, "Are we using our intelligence in the smartest way possible?" Let me know if you need any further adjustments.